Welcome, everybody. Hope you enjoy little animated videos at the beginning of these webinars. We have fun putting those together, kind of break the ice, so to speak, on getting you familiar with what we're going to talk about during any particular webinar. If this is the first webinar you've joined on, there's several that we've done in the past. We've done one on SMS messaging, our SIP service, and our APIs, and we're going to be continually to do more webinars every month. So hopefully you enjoy them and you can learn more about what we do here and how we can help you to build your business and be more successful. If you have questions along the way, don't hesitate to ask. There are several of us from Vitelity on here that can help answer those questions and get you up to speed on whatever you need to know. I'm Terry Garrison. I'm the VP of Strategic Initiatives here at Vitelity. So hopefully we can get you up to speed on our hosting options. And that is what this is about, our hosted PBX options. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Vitelity as a whole, I mean, we are much more of a telephony solutions provider besides just being SIP trunk. We have SMS messaging, VFAX, MyScript voicemail transcription, as well as PBX hosting. Now, for some reason, I'm getting an echo on here. Is anyone else hearing the echo? No? Okay. Well, oh, everyone is hearing echo. Okay. Why are we having an echo? That's kind of odd. Okay, it looks like it's gone now. Well, when we're looking at PBX hosting, there's always challenges that we need to look at. We want to minimize network hops. We want to have good call quality. And, of course, we want to maximize our costs. We don't want to spend too much money on something that is just maybe a virtual server versus a dedicated server. And we're going to look at those different options. Yeah, I'm hearing that echo again myself. Wonder what I can do about that. Oh, always great when there's technical issues. Everyone should be muted, but it sounds like there is somebody who managed to get in. Okay, let's see, let's try this. Okay, Scott, are you on the call? Is that why we're getting, can you mute? Maybe that's getting us the echo there. Okay, is that better? That sounds better. All right, now we'll pound through this. No one's hearing any more echo? All right, we'll blame it on Scott. So some of the reasons to look at Vitelity as a PBX hosting provider is we do have state-of-the-art data centers. They're located outside the Denver metropolitan area here in Colorado. Our main facility is right here where we're located, and we've got all the things you would expect from a state-of-the-art center. We've got redundant UPSs and generators and all that good stuff, and we're building another data center just a block away here that's amazing. It's huge. We're going to really be able to expand our data center operation into this facility. And of course, it is a voice-optimized network, since that's what we specialize in, is voice services. We work with companies to provide best-of-breed attack mitigation. We have, those hackers out there that are always trying to do denial-of-service attacks on different companies, and that really never affects us because of the way we've set up our attack mitigation procedures. And we have some very affordable options, and we're going to look at what those options are so you get familiar with the different price points, the different offerings that we have. And again, as we go along, feel free to ask questions. We may hold some of them to the Q&A section, but if it's relevant to a slide that we're on, we'll go ahead and answer it. And I've got Scott with us, who is the VP of Sales and Marketing, who can certainly answer any sales-related questions as well. What do we host here? Well, we definitely host all the different Asterisk variants, FreePBX, Asterisk, PBX, and a Flash. We have people that have been trained and certified on different platforms here. We also offer 3CX. We're a 3CX partner, so we have several people here that know 3CX inside and out. We're getting ready to ramp up some new videos for some of the changes that they've recently done in 3CX so that it's real easy to set it up with us. And we also host customer-supplied equipment. We have colocation and services such as that. We can actually furnish a complete cabinet if you need to. And we'll get to some of the prices here in a few minutes so you can understand really what the different offerings are. The lowest end is our virtual hosted servers. That's just a virtual slice on one of our big beefy machines. Those are very affordable, and those are really good for the small offices, upwards of maybe 10, 15 people. If they've got really good internet connection, you can probably go up to 20, 25 people, but generally that's going to be in the 5 to 10 extension range to when you're going off a virtual server. Then we go up to dedicated servers, which we can have extremely large servers here with quad Xeons and all kinds of RAM in them to really give you whatever level of performance that you need on a high-end server. And again, we've mentioned the server colocation, where we can host your server. If it's something that we don't offer, like Digium SwitchVox, that can be rack mounted. Other platforms that are IP-based can be just put into the data center, and we just charge a setup fee for getting those up and running. Let's take a look at the virtual hosted servers first. The entry-level one is 1 gig of RAM with 20 gigs of hard disk space. That goes for $29 setup fee and $29 a month, or we double that to 2 gigs of RAM with a 40 gig hard drive for only $39 setup and $39 a month. This is by far our most popular package that we offer here, is our virtual hosted servers. Generally, those are going to be either just a FreePBX install. Sometimes it's an Asterisk install. We get once in a while someone wants a PBX and a Flash install, and between those three, that takes up the majority of the ones that we sell here. Those are really easy to get up and running. Most people have used these in the past on a customer premise based on the survey we did at the beginning. Some of you were on earlier, were able to take a poll that we had. Looks like most people have been using customer premise solutions and are looking at hosted options for some of your customers. So we are running a special right now through September 30th. You can $10 off the setup and the monthly fee. So if you sign up now, you can get that entry-level system for $19 setup and $19 a month, which is just a remarkably good deal for a small business PBX offering. When we move into the dedicated servers, we have a Intel P4 2.66 gigahertz with a gig of RAM, 40 gig hard drive, $69 setup and $69 a month. Move to the dual core 3.0 gigahertz with 2 gigs of RAM and 260 gig hard drives that are set up in software RAID 1. That's $99 setup and $109 a month. And then our big beefy box is the dual quad core Xeon 1.8 gigahertz, 4 gigs of RAM with 250 gig hard drives, also software RAID 1, for $99 setup and $169 a month. Now on the dedicated servers, we do have add-on things that we can put on there. We can do extra RAM, which is for each 2 gigs is an additional $10 a month. We can virtualize that machine for you. So if you want to have a big machine that's virtualized for your individual customers, we can set up that virtualization for you for a one-time $99 setup fee. And on the 2 bigger machines there that have the 2 hard drives in there, you can upgrade that to a hardware RAID controller for $20 a month. So with the dedicated servers, you can build some really powerful machines. You can virtualize them. We can put hardware RAID in them so that that data is going to be protected, and the things are going to be very, very reliable. And of course, sitting in our data center, as we mentioned, we've got the power, we've got the UPSs, we have the generators. So you can be assured that that stuff is going to be, really solid and reliable and stay up and running. Eric's asking if you can provide your own RAM or hard drive, and we don't do that because we have to basically warranty the equipment. We don't allow customers to provide additional hardware to put in there. If you need a one-off of some kind that has bigger hard drives, you can talk to Scott. He can work up a custom quote for you, but we can't take customer equipment and put it in the boxes because it's an asset tracking, and we are trying to warranty if something goes bad, we replace it so that you don't have to worry about that. So unfortunately, we do not let customers provide extra RAM and hard drives. Server colocation it's fairly popular. We have a handful of those today, and we really think this is going to take off with our new data center because we have so much more space over there. And we can set up your server for $99 with if we have to do any additional setup time and configuration. Generally, we can just give you what you need to know, the IP addresses and things, to have it pre-configured so we can just plug it in and get up and running. If you need remote hands time on it to get it set up, we can provide that as well. And we also offer full cabinets with 20 amps of power, which is $699 a month. And again, if you need us to do some setup time to mount the equipment, configure it for you, we have those types of services available. Yeah, as Scott's pointed out in the chat, the new data center is 20,000 square feet. So we are definitely gearing up our hosted offerings because we're just going to have a lot of space available. Can you request multiple IPs? Yeah, I mean, we will provide different blocks of IPs based on what you need, and we can work with you to solve those type of concerns. Can you come on site and rack and stack yourselves in the cabinet? In the current data center, we don't do that. In the new data center, we will allow access into, if you're buying a cabinet, we can work with you to have someone over there to let you in and set up your equipment. So that's one of the advantages of the new data center that we're putting together, is that we can have cage space with full access, we can have cabinets that will have access, and we just have to have someone over there for that. Let's see, is the service behind a firewall or raw internet feed, and does the cabinet include IP service? Yes, everything is behind core routers and firewalls in order for us to handle attack mitigation. And however, they are open to the internet. You have the internet access to them. We just don't, where was I going with that? We don't really block ports going to your machine. You can, if you want to host as a web server, you can do that. So you have full internet access, but it is behind core routers and firewalls to make sure that we can manage any attacks that are coming in and things like that. The prices on the screen are per month. So that's really the gist of it. Let's get into Q&A. I've got Scott here. We can answer any of the questions that you have. It's a pretty simple set of offerings on the hosted side. Again, the virtual servers up to dedicated servers, colocation, and whatever amount of space that you're going to need when the new data center is up and running. So the new data center is actually, we're spinning up some of the first cabinets this week. So, I mean, this is not something that's months out. This is something that's really only a week or two out from us starting to put customers into that facility. So yeah, this is a fairly short webinar today because we're just talking about the hosted products, but we can answer any of the questions on the other services that we have. Let's see, some questions here. Are the dedicated server prices for any number of extensions? Well, this is going to depend on the software that you put on there. If you're putting on FreePBX, Asterisk, or even 3CX, these different major platforms that I've discussed, those have no extension limitations on them. You're going to be limited mostly by the bandwidth at the customer side. If you're trying to put in 100 extensions at a location and all they have is a T1 line, well, you're not going to really get that. You're going to be lucky to get, 15 calls at it at one time. So it's really dependent on the bandwidth at the customer side. If they're a distributed place, you have people working from home and they're all using their individual bandwidth, you can have tons of extensions on any particular system. But if you're using like FreePBX and these, they have no extension limits because they're open source. There's no cost to that software. Let's see, make sure I don't scroll off the screen here. Will you accept SIP traffic from other providers or only Vitelity? Oh no, you can certainly have other providers, and it's usually a good thing to have backup providers and other sources of connectivity in any particular box. So we don't limit that by any means. It's going to be more efficient for your system to be using primarily Vitelity trunks because your server is going to be located in the same data center as your SIP trunk equipment. So you eliminate additional lag and latency and jitter and those types of quality issues when you're using Vitelity trunks from the PBX. So it just kind of cuts down on the number of pain points.
Part of that is basically we include bandwidth and power at no additional charge because we're getting the minutes. Now, if you are pushing the majority of your traffic to another provider, let's say more than 75 to 80%, then there could be additional charges for the bandwidth and power, maybe up to like an extra $10 a month for each meg, $10 for each amp, and so forth. So we normally include all that stuff at no additional cost because we're making money on the minutes. If we're not making on the minutes, we might have to charge a little bit more for bandwidth and power. That's it.
Right. Thanks, Scott. Pedro's asking, how are software upgrades handled for FreePBX packages? We don't administer these systems. We don't consider them managed platforms. You're going to be responsible for that. What we are rolling out is a security front end to help prevent hacking and unauthorized access. It's a product that we're wrapping up here right now. It's in kind of a beta state right now, but that's really the only additional piece that we put on top of it. You're responsible for managing the FreePBX modules and things like that. Does extension-to-extension calling go over the WAN, or does it stay local on the LAN? Okay, so this is often dependent on the PBX software that you use. In most cases, an extension-to-extension call, the SIP signaling is going to go out over the internet to the PBX and then back to the other phone, but then the audio stream will go device to device. So you're not sucking up bandwidth in most cases for an extension-to-extension call if they're on the same local network. Only the signaling is going to go back and forth over the PBX. Let's see, David, are the hosted PBX instances high availability? The virtual slices are on fairly redundant systems. They're slices within our servers. They're not, from a technical point of view, I don't think I'd call them high availability, but we can, bring up another slice and bring a system back up if we needed to. Let's see. Backstepping to smaller virtual PBXs, if we take the $29 setup and $29 a month virtual PBX and it isn't enough horsepower, is it possible to upgrade to the $39 a month? And that can be, Okay, Scott, you want to answer this question? Oh, you already did. You'll honor if someone gets the discounted price today, and down the road they decide they need to upgrade. Will we grandfather in the discounted price? And Scott says yes, he will honor that. We don't have transcripts of these answers, but this is being recorded. So later on today, we will post this. It'll be up on our YouTube channel. It'll be in our blog. So if you ever need to go back and refer to this, everything will be there so that you can refer back to this at any time, as well as the previous webinars that we've done. If you haven't caught any of the previous webinars, then you can go back and watch those. They're all available online. Let's see. Do you cap each virtual server so no one virtual server can be a resource hog eating the hypervisor and slowing down the other virtual servers in that same hardware? Yeah, there's the way we virtualize them. We kind of allocate resources to them, and we really don't have a problem of, especially on a PBX, of one really trouncing out one of the others. Most of the PBX software, unless you start running a bunch of extensions, really isn't that big of a resource hog. So fortunately, it's not really a huge issue. Any backups? I have to look into how we do the backups, but because we're all the stuff that we have is running on RAID systems and everything, we don't do backups so that you can go back and restore a previous version, but we have the redundancy within the RAID configuration, so if we lose a hard drive, we don't lose the whole system. Blake's asking, which Asterisk-based solution would you recommend that handles ring groups? I'm going to throw out my personal opinion here. You know, other people could chime in if they wanted to, but from a simplicity point of view and being kind of up to date on software, I like the FreePBX solution. It's kind of the most up to date. It has tons of features, not just ring groups. It has call queues. It has find me, follow me features. It has individual queues. I mean, every type of phone feature that you could imagine is within FreePBX. So it's one of my personal favorites right now, and it's what I generally recommend. There's people who like Elastics because it has some additional features on top of FreePBX, but I kind of like to keep it simple and stick to what really works well. And so my opinion would be to go with a FreePBX solution. Yeah, no. So we don't do TrixBox anymore because that has been discontinued from Finality. There hasn't been an update in 2+ years. So yeah, unfortunately, seeing TrixBox CE go away was kind of sad. So I put a lot of time into that, but that's all right. FreePBX is really, really good. Let me see before these scroll off. Do you have training on the FreePBX hosted services? We are going to be working on a series of videos here pretty soon that will show the basic setup and configuration of the different platforms. Most of them, all the Asterisk ones, use FreePBX. So if you see a FreePBX one, you can work with Elastics or PBX in a flash. And we're also going to be redoing the videos for 3CX because some things have changed in there and we need to update the videos. So not necessarily free training, however, we will have videos to show how to do all the common features and how to set those up. Can the virtual machines be used for other things besides PBXs? Well, I mean, sure. You could put a web server on it. I don't know that I'd put a very busy one on it, but you could. It's just a Linux box for all intents and purposes. We do have a professional services group, And if you need more specific one-on-one training, if you need troubleshooting, if you need custom configurations, if you need that type of professional services, we do offer that for $125 an hour. So that will get someone completely set up and configured, and any customizations that need to be done. Let's see. For configuration, you can pay us to do that. Yes, I just mentioned that. Derby saying FreePBX plus a good security setting IP tables is a solid solution, but remember to block your box or you will get hacked. Yes, security is a very, very important thing, and if you do not know how to do Linux security very well, that is one thing that you should use our professional services group to do. Have us go in, lock that thing down, block it to only the IPs that you're going to be coming from, really tighten the security on that system to make sure that we avoid any potential security problems. Again, we are going to be rolling out a security add-on to these, but that's still a little ways out. But in the meantime, if you don't understand IP tables, then you really need to have us work on that for you. Eric says, if you don't know what IP tables and fail to ban are, you shouldn't have the root password. Yes, that's an excellent point, Eric. So yeah, if you don't know IP tables and fail to ban, have us do that for you. It doesn't take a whole lot of time for us to get that up and running and really lock down these systems, because the last thing that you want is for someone to hack in and start making a bunch of calls and rack up your phone bill. So that's something you really want to avoid, and if you don't know how to do it, well, we definitely know how to do that for you. What IP phones do you recommend for ease of installation? Yeah, Scott mentioned this in the chat. Lync, the Cisco SPA phones, SNOM phones, Grandstream, Panasonic. With FreePBX, they actually have configuration tools for tons of different phones. Lync, one of my personal favorites right now, because the price point's excellent. There's a lot of margin in it for resellers. So, and if you need to order phones, we can get you prices on phones. If you don't have a really good source of distribution, we can help you with prices on phones, especially on larger deals. We can really help you out with that. AJ, yeah, you just want to manage extensions, ring groups, auto attendance, voicemail without dealing with the core PBX. In the case of a virtual server, we get that up and running. We get the configuration done for you. We can get it all set up, and then you can just do adds, moves, and changes from that point on. And if we set up the security on it, then you really don't have to worry about too much. So we want to make it as easy as possible for people by providing the initial system, but being able to go above and beyond and really be able to dial a system in for you. Let's see. AWS gives you a web interface to manage the firewall, to do snapshots, backups. What can we expect from you guys on the VM offering? Well, Federico, we're always looking at how we can improve our PBX hosting platform. And as we move into the new data center, we are going to be looking at different technologies, different services that we can offer on top of that, different backup systems, platforms. FreePBX has integration with S3 to do backups. So there's a number of different platforms and solutions out there for backups and snapshots and things of that nature. We will be adding on to our hosted service offerings as we go forward over the next few months and get the new data center up and running and have new equipment in there that can handle more stuff. So you'll be able to expect a lot from us over the next 6 months and even a year as we roll out new products and services around the hosting solutions. Did I miss any questions? I think I got everybody. If you have anything else, or if I didn't answer a question, just throw it there in the chat and we'll answer it. Oh, what's the next webinar going to be? Hey, how about that? The next webinar is going to be next month, and we're going to be talking about connecting SIP trunks to legacy equipment as well as Microsoft Lync. If you're not already looking at this, or you have customers that have older phone systems, this is going to be a really interesting webinar, because we have solutions today, it's called SIP Enable and Lync Enable, that allow you to take our SIP trunks to legacy phone systems that may only support FXS, or they only support PRI connections. And using the products that we have, we can connect that equipment to the SIP trunks. Now, if you want some information on that, you can go into the Vitelity website. It has information on SIP Enable. You can certainly call your account manager or Scott, and he can tell you more about the SIP Enable and Lync Enable products that we have, and how they work, and kind of the price points and things. What I really like about taking our SIP trunks to this legacy equipment is that, remember, we're a solutions provider. We don't just do the SIP trunks. Once you have that in there with them, now you're also being able to offer them our VFAX service, SMS messaging, and being able to add a suite of services besides just trying to save money every month off their minutes. So putting it together as a complete solution and offering that as an option to a phone system that didn't have SIP capability is definitely a big thing. On the Microsoft Lync side, well, Microsoft, likes to not play by the rules, and for their SIP trunks, that requires TCP instead of UDP, which is what everything else uses. And so there's a device that we can put in place that will convert our SIP trunks from UDP to TCP to work with Microsoft Lync. So we will be discussing that next month, and hopefully a lot of you will get something out of that, because this is going to allow you to sell stuff into this existing base of customers. And of course, as a reseller, you can make money off those minutes. So it's a nice way to get in the door. If they're not ready to just forklift out their phone system, you can get them on SIP technology, you can get them using the other services that we offer, and get them moving forward in a particular direction. Let's see. AJ, how hard is it to migrate an existing Asterisk PBX to one of your hosted systems? Well, yeah, the FreePBX, which is within Asterisk, has a backup and restore functionality. So you can do a backup from within FreePBX that's in Asterisk, take that file, put it on, upload it to the server, and do a restore, and basically everything comes back. So fortunately, FreePBX has that backup and restore functionality, and since Asterisk is based on FreePBX, it's all there. So it's actually fairly straightforward once you find that option. I mean, you might, on Asterisk, you might have to install the module from the package manager, and kind of go from there. How do we go about setting up SIP Enable accounts with you guys? Well, again, contact sales, Scott, or your account manager. They can tell you about the hardware that goes in place, and then it's just our standard SIP trunks that connect to that. And if you've ever, just since we're on the topic here, if you've ever tried to configure a gateway, and we use the pattern gateways for this, if you ever tried to configure one of these by hand, it is an absolute nightmare. And if you want to take a quick look at how we do it and how we help you to make this as easy as possible, go to vitelity.com/SIPenable. And what you'll find there is a configuration tool. And you'll put in the information for your device as well as your SIP credentials for that connection, and it will spit out a config file. You upload it to the device, you tell it to reload that config, and you're up and running. Literally, you can have a SIP trunk running with a legacy phone system with these patent devices in under 2 minutes. If you've ever tried to do this by hand with a pattern device or an audio codes device, this can take literally hours of trying to figure out how to write these config files. We can get you up and running in about 2 minutes or less. I've done it a few times. I can do it in about a minute. So it's really, really easy. We have complete instructions on how to do it. So it's a nice, easy walkthrough once you've downloaded that config file. So we try to make this stuff as easy as possible for people by providing these types of configuration tools. So hopefully I've given you a lot of information about the hosted offerings that we have, the virtual servers, the dedicated servers, colocation offerings, and we've certainly talked a little bit about the SIP-enabled stuff that we're really going to dive in deep next month on. We'll actually have people from Padden on the call who can answer even more questions about the hardware and some of its capabilities and what else it can do besides just connecting the SIP trunks, because these are actually really powerful devices that can do quite a bit, and we want to make sure that you're up and running and know how to do it. So thanks everyone for taking the time this morning. We really appreciate you coming on to learn more about what we do here at Vitelity and how we can help you to grow your business and have more profitability with the different services that we offer. So thanks everybody. We really appreciate it, and we will catch you next month. Bye-bye.